infinite and never-ending. And simply becoming aware that on the back of this breath rides the incredible gift of love and wisdom and information provided to each one of us equally. So that we may apply our unique gifts and talents for the good of the whole. And as we breathe in and out, just becoming aware at that moment, at the end of the out breath, of the complete silence, emptiness, and fullness. That gives rise to the next breath. And in that moment, experiencing the connection with all life on our Mother Earth, with each other, our galaxy, and the universe itself. And with deep gratitude, being grateful for this, being part of this, an amazing, mysterious gift of life itself. And with that, just feeling the heart expand with knowing that our brothers and sisters in this room support each other, and that wave of love amplifies to share out with the rest of the world. And so be it.
Thank you, John. And this resonance practice that we are part of is actually a social artistry where we bring the theme for today is the social artist, and it's from an article from the book, Our Moment of Choice, that was highlighted at the beginning of the, and probably throughout the Unity Caravan. And let me just find the reflection, the reading. And let's also maybe together just send a little heart resonance to surround Shelley during her time of restfulness, or stepping back to be nourished. And I'll begin the reading. We live in a world that is ripe for healing. And this is ultimately what motivates the social artist to take initiatives. The social artist knows that we are built for healing. The critical issue here, which distinguishes the great and inspired social artist from the ordinary, is whether they regard healing as redemptive or creative, salvational or evolutional. In our traditional medical technology and healing practice, the emphasis is almost entirely on the redemptive. All manner of fundamentalism is generally redemptive in their philosophies and liturgies. They seek to fix the old Adam rather than to understand the whole Adam. And I'll say that again. They seek to fix the old Adam rather than understand the whole Adam. Or if they cannot, then they assure their followers by fixing on another plane after death. The evolutionary state works on an entirely different basis for life and for healing. There is somewhere to go, there is something to become. Even illness contains the notion of deconstruction leading to a higher reconstruction, chaos leading to cosmos. Healing is making whole. The move from a limited condition felt in a most painful way through a process leading to the creation of a new higher order of mind, emotions, and physical being. Something changes. The wounds in the body or of the society are experienced as doorways to a higher consciousness and to more evolved forms. Social artists respect the uniqueness of each person they work with. As healers, social artists help people to ignite their potential and do not take credit for the ignition to avoid continuing old dependency models. The good social artist healer is an evocateur who shows people how to access their inner wisdom and knowledge without leading them like sheep. This form of healing moves us beyond the polarities of left versus right, us versus them, and promotes cooperation, understanding, and networks of mutual aid. It is, above all, compassionate listening, a major training for the social artist. And the inquiry for today is, in what ways are we social artists here and in our world? And I want to also add to the connected, I feel, a quote that Jude Caravan shared in the Heartland in Nebraska, where she said that the new science is the science of love. And which to me also means the new science is the science of the heart. And the science of the heart is this social artistry that Jean Houston is speaking about. And so just repeating a couple guidelines. So we invite you to share from 1 to 2 minutes, and to leave pauses between sharing to give time to receive and to settle into the field, and to speak from your experience. Speak from your heart. And I place the talking stone into the center of our circle this morning.
Well, maybe premature, but Kate feels inclined to want to pick up the feather because, I feel like I'm playing in this room with some of the most beautiful social artists on the planet. I really, love what you did with COVID for me today, to see together. And then I think about how the energy of today is all about the sculpting. And we're at this place where we can sculpt this new unity movement and this new worldview that takes us into this science of the heart, where we learn to, I feel like I'm learning how to use some of and the more we can come into our essence and tune into ourself, and then tune into the earth energies, and learn to leverage and to, operate, if you will, from that space. It just, I think we're all artists, that the living is the art, the living is the gift, and that we've taken that beyond just because everyone is creative and can make beautiful things. And you discover, when you give everyone the chance, if you truly listen and just, there's something amazing in everyone. And maybe it's been the capacity within some people that they're able to leverage their hearts so much that they become, the big word that we know them all just by their name, just by their very name. And but we now realize that the success that we've termed with people finding their name and their, being able to be that magnificent artist. I love that. I have that wildflower thing that says, thank you, God, for the wildflowers, because they teach us to be content. I feel like my 2 minutes is up. So I just like to pass the feather and y'all reflect on that, because like how I can go into this never ending, especially on philosophical reflective day, I can get really emotive. And, I want to talk about, I was so moved by the children on the World Peace Platform. And I want to talk about how when I went to register for the Peace Platform and I realized it was more money, and I've kind of been given a lot of money and trying to decide what is that all about. And, so I could go on. I'm in a emotive place on reflective day. So just honored to be in this room with social artists and looking what we sculpt together. And I'd like to pass that sacred stone on.
I feel like singing. So I love you, Kate. Love you all. So I brought through a song in 2006 after watching An Inconvenient Truth. I choose to be the change I wish to see in the world today. I unite with all loving hearts, and I share all the gifts I've been given. I live my life fully now, 'cause all life matters, yes it does. Every creature on this earth, every wild wind that blows, and our lives matter, this I know. each of us is here to make a difference. Yes, each of us is here to make the difference. Overcoming painful addictions, changing over to sustainable ways, feeling in our hearts a new direction, finding strength within. Let's make the difference. And it goes on, but that's the part I want to share right now with love. We make the difference. Yes, thank you.
Good morning, all you beautiful people. Love seeing you all. Love hearing what goes on in this space. It feels like just listening in this room allows for the change, gives us that space to do that. It was funny, a couple of days ago, I was sharing something actually with one of our family members here on the connection field, David. And I was sharing some of my hidden fears behind the scene here, you know, going, I'm not really comfortable being public, and I've always felt like an ugly duckling, and I was telling him parts of my old story. And he sat there, he says, yeah, that may have been who you were last year. Yeah, even maybe last week. But it's funny because that day, that evening, 2 days ago with Dave, I buried that story. Every day, I have a chance to create a new story. This field has blessed me with the ability to create the new story. Each of your support, each of your loving words, each of your encouraging words gives us the power to be better, gives us the power to change our stories, gives us the power to measure against other things that we hear, other things that we feel that are being brought in by other people. We have a chance to analyze our old stories. And the magnificence that comes into this room, yeah, I've heard from Julie what I want to add to my story. Oh yeah, I've heard from June and from Henry and from John and Ken, the nuggets, Kate, Jess, everyone, Bridget, all of your nuggets. I add to my new story. Thank you for the container. Thank you for allowing me to flip to that new page. And may we all continue to write new, beautiful stories together. Thank you. Yeah, see, this is wisdom. This is power.
Good morning. I hate to break the silence because it is wisdom and power, isn't it? I've been thinking, when Henry said the talking stone, I went and got this stone that I love. And it was cold and it was hard. And it's my perfect stone. It fits in my hand so well. And just sitting here, it now feels like clay. It feels pliable, it's soft, it's warm, it's yummy. When I picked it up, it was hard and cold. But I was saying contemplative. Being contemplative with the theme of social artistry today reminded me of the One Planet Peace Forum that we were all mostly a part of over the last 3 days. And the social artistry that was there was brilliant. And I'm going to judge that with one comment from yesterday that I think was the greatest affirmation of who we be and what we offer, the greater message as good of the whole. In that we went through the whole month of September with all of the peace initiatives, hundreds and hundreds of organizations offering into the greater collective storytelling, and the Caravan of Unity moving across the United States. It's been referenced here already. And when we were asked to co-produce the One Planet Peace Forum and participate, I told Bob Atkinson, who's the editor of that book Henry's holding, I said, Bob, I don't want to do it if it's just another program. And I'd been talking to him for weeks about creating coherence, that there's so much out there, there's so many organizations, there's so many activities, there's so much going on, there's so much noise on Facebook, there's so much competition for attention for that messaging. And I said, it has to come from the heart, it has to come from resonance. And if Good of the Whole is going to help, we have to be able to create coherence. And not just within the organization, but let's create coherence that ties the month up. Let's create coherence that really sends the message of peace for the good of the whole. And he couldn't agree more. He's like, okay. And the social artistry that took place was that dozens of people came together for the One Planet Peace Forum to produce it. And Bob listened deeply and created a magnificent program. And we had so many amazing volunteers, including John, behind the scenes volunteering to help it be an experience of coherence, be an experience of resonance that comes from the heart of how do we literally create this online so people can feel this. And the social artistry that I'm reminded of when I listen to that is that each person that volunteered did what they do best, did their part. And I know there were others who were volunteering that had so much more they could have given. John could have delivered the keynote on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. And John helped behind the scenes on Friday, tending to that waiting room and helping with the security and making it going. But what happened yesterday that was really that affirmation was that Kurt Johnson, in our after hour lounge time, our lobby time, said two things. He said something in chat that I didn't hear till this morning, but he said something out loud. I'll read you what he said in the chat because I was moved. What he said out loud was, thank you. There was so much coherence that flowed through the program. And I thought the only two people who heard coherence were Bob and I talking about we have to design it with coherence. And Kurt says there was coherence that just flowed throughout that. And then evidently, Kurt wrote in the chat, and Kate Roach was literally harvesting from the chat and reposting things that were beautiful. And Kurt said, he was one of our presenters on Saturday. He said, fantastic 3 days of content. Best of the peace season, I think. And now Kurt was co-producing so much from the peace season. He was a part of so much. He contributed to so much. He created a magazine and radio shows, and he was a part of all of it. And it was such a beautiful comment to read this morning, to just know that that intention of creating coherence and resonance from the heart was felt and experienced by people who perhaps have never thought about coherence or resonance. So takes me back to the social artistry piece and being co-creative and creating toward evolution, and even listening to the destruction on the planet and how we're deconstructing to reconstruct and remodel and reform, in that there's so much movement going on. And when it is toward that higher good of evolution and aligning with that impulse of creation, the coherence naturally flows. And the coherence between the pieces and the parts and the people naturally flows. So thank you all. Know that this very Heart Resonance call was an important piece of the whole One Planet Peace Forum and its planning, that we create the conditions for the peace to come forward, and it does. And with that, I'm complete.
Wow, so much heart, so much heart. Everyone, so much heart. And this weekend was so much heart. It was I didn't get to participate much on Saturday and Sunday. Interestingly enough, on Friday, at some point during the experience, and I don't know exactly the moment that was going on there, but my brother passed away from cancer during that time. And so I spent pretty much the rest of the weekend dealing with family and so forth. But I found it very interesting that, Henry, you said, and I don't know when Gene Houston, who I'm a big fan of, wrote that piece, but we can no longer talk about redemption. but we can talk about resurrection. And when we talk about resurrection, it is the natural order of death and birth to a new form, to a new understanding and expansion of the resonant field. And so that happened for my brother during that time. He was only 60 years old, died of cancer. He'd been in hospice for a couple of weeks. But I want to speak to so many things, and it was just an amazing, I don't know if it's still available, but I just want to say, I listened and I was caught by, and I cannot remember her name. Julie, you could help me with this. The Oriental woman who was the Unity UN representative that spoke on Friday. And I'm sitting and I'm dropping into what she was saying, and I really got it. That she was not talking about we need to come together to find new forms and systems to help us in this material situation and material life that we're dealing with. She was laying out plans for us moving from material beings to energetic beings. She was lining out how do we move from the limitations of our solid belief systems to move together into unity in the energetic frequency that we are evolving to right now. And it was very clear. Of course, we have to deal with this material world, but not from the old systems. And I feel like Ms. Houston was talking about it. We're all talking about it, which leads me to good of the whole. And that is, we've all been in training here in this room, and many more of us that are not right here, but also here with us as mentoring stewards. In training, in making that transition to resonance into being social artists. And the new term, or a variation of the term that Julie's been working on for years, is global transition specialist. Global transition specialist. And I may have that term wrong, but I feel like that's. And what we're transitioning to is the defined, solid belief systems and material systems that were necessary in order to get us to this point. But the global transition is a social artistry toward living in the love of the energetic field. And we're all in boot camp together and learning a lot. And we're not I went through boot camp in the military to find ways to be against and destroy an enemy. This boot camp is finding a way to come into the unified heart that we all experience and allow us to come together to make that transition, not in redemption, but in resurrection. And when I say resurrection, I mean resurrecting to the whole, resurrecting to the unified field, resurrecting from individuality from me to we. And so I have high hopes and expectations that all of us are becoming global transition specialists, which goes right like this with social artistry. unitive consciousness with social, cultural norms that are beautifully and distinctly developed to bring us out of limitation to the unlimited field of the higher frequency of love. And I'm just extremely, and I think this weekend, this piece, and I want to go back and listen to this Oriental woman that is obviously, she's brilliant. That's what she was talking about. She's going, let's get prepared, folks. Let's do it now. This transition is happening. And we got to start shifting and developing and coming together for this transition, because it's going to happen with us or without us. It's happening. It's going to happen. So I feel like we're all on board the ship, and I'm grateful to be here. Complete.
Before the pause, I'll jump into just presence. That was Audrey Kitagawa, who is the chairman of the board for the Parliament of World's Religions. She is brilliant. She's an attorney, but she's so spiritual, and she's amazing. And Jean Houston will likely be teaching one of our modules for the Global Transition team as well. So yeah, that social artistry, that is what that is. John, while you were talking, we were kind of doing this, like it is. So thanks, I'm complete.
Good morning, everyone. This is June from California, and I'm just loving hearing the names of people that are making such a difference out in the world with their hearts, with their actions, with their words, such as Jean Houston and so many others. And as I think about that, I think about social artistry, not necessarily great big social artistry as many of those people are and how important they are. But I think about myself or my friends or my professional colleagues about what does it mean to be a social artist on a day-to-day basis, on a minute-to-minute basis. Because there's so many ways to bring healing, to be healing, or to be healed. And I just see how important it is to trust the mystery, each of our own mysteries, the wisdom, the love we carry, because each of us has our own social artistry. We each have our own way of reaching out, of sending that energy or doing whatever it is that we see or feel is needed to be healed. And I notice how important it is not to compare ourselves to those people who are so incredible, and realize that every word we speak, if it's spoken with love, is as important and as big as the biggest gift we can give, whether it be a lot of money, whether it be position, whether it be writing something. We each have our own, and if we honestly trust that own, just the heart energy, the words that come with it, the look in our eyes, they are all so powerful and do so much good. And so I think of the fact that, letting oneself be inspired by what we carry and what we see out in the world is so, so important. And I just love all the healing modes that this group carries. Each one of us has a way of expressing or touching into or giving light or word to. And so as social artists, I'm just so grateful to each one of you, and out in the world to, I really want to look and see and feel all the different ways that people give of themselves and give of their love. So it's a wonderful topic, and one I think that each of us, if we reach into that inner wisdom and inner knowing, and don't compare what we think we have to what anyone else gives, allows us to be the healer, to be the social artists that we all are. And so, thank you, and I pass on. I don't have a stone close by, but I'll pass on my crystal heart.
So what came to me in this loving swirl and flow, and perhaps something I might add to my name and bio is not just social artist, but and it might also be another way of saying global transition specialist, a social heartist. That that combined, gets into the heart resonance part of it as well. Yeah. So I think I'm complete, and I'm gonna mull that over.
I don't know why this wants to be shared, but just listening during this hour, I was reminded of a vision I had years and years ago of walking the path, and to stay on this evolutionary path is to stay on the path that's not one side or the other. And to stay on the path, when we stay in the middle, we hold the whole. And so often, if we get pulled to one side or the other, we like literally enter into the polarization. And it's so easy on the planet. What I was hearing is this is already done. The universal human's already been born. We're just cleaning up our environment. We're just making it safe. We just want clean food and pure water. And we just want to treat each other better. Like it's already happening, and we're just cleaning it up right now. And if you get pulled to one side or the other, you're like, there's so much to do. And there's that grind and that grist. And just thinking of the social artistry of really walking that path, of really staying on that middle road with a great big heart, like we're talking about. It's like staying in the middle of the road, walking with this big heart, literally is influencing both sides often we think we have to go over here to get our point across, and like, I would rather be over here talking to these people, or I'd rather be representing. And it's like, no, stay on the middle road. And the middle road is the whole, which often it feels so narrow and constricting. But I just wanted to jump in right now. Thanks for walking that middle path with us and holding the whole in our heart, with our heart, through our heart, as our heart. So thank you. I'm complete.
So at this point, I'd like to invite those who have not yet shared to presence themselves, to maybe take a little brush stroke of artistry and helping to paint this moment, paint this day, and just your presencing yourself, if you like.
This morning, I got a quick message. I always get good mornings from people in these memes that they send. And in this talk of creating, I'd like to share the one that came to my mailbox today. It says, "This is the beginning of a new day. You have been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it, or you can use it for good. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. In its place is something that you have left behind. Let it be something good."
I want to share with you from my heart that I have been writing songs for a very, very long time. And if you feel drawn to the energy of that song, let's make the difference. I put a link in the chat, and I'll post it again to share freely. I have a song, "We're Creating Heaven on Earth." And you can also reach me by email. I just want to share these songs. I want to be visible with it because I haven't always been very good at being visible. So thank you.
And before closing, what has come to mind for me is to just take a moment or two to imagine and reflect on all the ways that we are artists, we are artists in our lives, and just the care and thought that we place into our connections with others, our connections with the earth, our connections with family, connections with friends, our connections with this connection field, and the many different, whether it be in painting as the different strokes that we make to paint the day, or the movement, the dance, the expression in and through our bodies, and especially the art when we are just silently present in what Jean Houston expressed, compassionate listening, and maybe even compassionate listening to ourselves and taking care of ourselves is an artistry. And making sure that we are comfortable. In a meditation practice, one of the key things that is suggested is to make sure you are comfortable. And if you are comfortable, then love and peace flows through you more with greater ease, greater beauty. And so, even while we're sitting here, to taking minutes of conscious minutes to be comfortable, that allows the light that is within us to come through with greater ease, and also can feed us at the same time. So just take another few seconds to contemplate the social artistry that we do each day.
Henry, I feel called to share one of the themes from the One Planet Peace Forum was to be uncomfortable. For great change and transformation is to be uncomfortable, get uncomfortable and sit in your discomfort, to allow that to come back to that homeostasis, but to create great change and transformation, which was really profound hearing that when we often talk about get comfortable and be at peace. And so it's a really powerful juxtaposition to ponder and contemplate moving forward. Thank you for that, Henry.
So I just got to pop in on top of that. First of all, the Residence Lounge follows this. The heart continues. Also, this hour, deepening in, and I watched the smiles on people's faces as they spoke, and just remembering that the pleasure and the laughter and the joy and the effervescence of this whole experiment of life itself in this physical form is so very important. I can't think of anything that unifies us more than to laugh together and to not taking the depth of our heart unification as something that needs to be somber, but it is like, holy cow, folks, we're at the most incredible carnival that you could possibly ever imagine. And and those moments of deep laughter and pleasure and all of the experiences that we get to have, I don't know if I ever feel as unified as when I'm sitting with my friends and we're all laughing and we don't even know what the hell we're laughing at. It wipes away all of the definitions that keep us solidified and opens up into that effervescent world. And so I just wanted to express that, and love the smiles, the laughter, and just the joy of experiencing others, because we realize at that moment that there are no others, and we don't even need to know why at that moment. We're just in that pleasure moment of it, and so complete.
And on that note, to close, but there will be the Resonance Lounge following. I invite you to unmute yourselves and to express with pleasure, with joy, as well, and also extend it outward wherever it is needed. And so unmute yourself, and we're going to sound together a gentle, healing, socially artistic yum. Take a breath. Yum.
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 Thank you all.
Yum.
Join us.
Yum.
Randall, you can sing for me all day long.
And you are now host, John. Magically. Take care.
Beautiful, Henry.